Hey, what's up, guys? Having a little precious metals talk today. Prices are down, which means it's time to buy. I'm going to babble like I usually do in this video and talk about all kinds of things, but the main subject of this video, as per the title, is something along the lines of when to buy. When to buy, when to sell. That is the biggest question, right? You watch these videos, perhaps mine, perhaps others on the internet. Maybe you read something on a forum, and you're hearing about people investing in gold and silver, and when you go to your mall and you see these little kiosks everywhere, and we buy gold, cash for gold, and people focus mainly on gold, but of course silver is right there as well. And then rhodium and platinum and palladium, those are unheard of for most people, although platinum is very popular in jewelry. Well, I suppose rhodium is too, but not, of course, as much as gold and silver. So see, I told you I'd babble a little bit. You guys can expect that at this point, some babbling. Anyway, yeah, the biggest question of the year, when do I buy and when do I sell? A lot of people like this because of the hobby aspect. There's all different forms of precious metals, particularly silver, of course gold as well, coins and rounds and art bars and bullion and just a slew of different ways, different forms to physically own these metals. And I am, of course, mainly focusing on physical investing, actually buying silver, buying gold you can hold in your hand. No paper stocks, none of that crap, none of that, just the promises. I'm talking about you buy the stuff and you get to look at it and play with it, and it's shiny. It makes you happy. It makes you feel secure and good. And also, when I talk about investing, I don't necessarily mean you have to have $300,000 to put down on this stuff. You can buy, well, silver is probably one of the best investments just because it's so cheap. Anyone can get into silver. I told you can get a gram of silver, depending on when you buy it. You can fork over $6. Everyone's got $6. It's a fun hobby to me, but overall, no matter why you're buying this stuff, everyone's goal is the same. It's to make money. But what's really, really important to know, and I think this is where some people make a mistake, and some people are unhappy with their investments, is because they don't realize that it is certainly a long-term investment. Some people just get lucky, and I could tell you, I started getting into this hobby, and I got very lucky, and that's what really, really sparked the interest, and that's what kind of made it fun, is because I happened to get lucky. I came into precious metals and had the interest in this when silver was at $18 an ounce. I bought a bunch of silver back when. I don't remember exactly what I invested. I want to say around $500 or $600. This was in 2009, I think. Just basically blew most of the paycheck on it. I was really into it, and what happened was it went up. It went up to about, I think, $33 is when I sold it. So that was lucky. But for most people, you're purchasing silver and you're adding to your collection and you're adding to your investment, little bits at a time, which makes sense. Not everyone can just throw a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 at gold or silver, every month. Some people have to chip away at it. You buy a 1 ounce coin, you buy a silver eagle maybe once a month. Every time you get a paycheck, you spend $25 or $30 or whatever it may be at the time to get 1 ounce. And you keep doing that over a couple of years, and all of a sudden you have 100 ounces, and then all of a sudden you got 500 ounces. As time goes by, these things certainly add up. But no matter how big or small the investment is, the ultimate goal is to buy it when it's really cheap and sell it when it's really expensive, so you make money. That's the purpose of any investment. That's why you're investing. You're basically tying up your funds with the return of having more funds. So hey, you know what? I'm going to put some money into this hobby, and I can't use that money for a while, but that's okay, because when I can use it, there'll be more of it. That's an investment, right? So anyway, I'm making this video because silver has hit my buying point. Doesn't mean I'm going to buy it, because I don't have any money to buy it right now. But it broke the $20 mark. Now, what I mean by this is that right now it's less than 20 bucks. In fact, let me check exactly what it is. I've talked about this before, but there's an app for iPhones, or I guess any smartphone. It's called DHF. Just do a little search for it on your app thing. What's that called? Your app store. And of course, I've talked about this before, but in case you haven't seen those other videos, you can't see crap, can you? Basically gives you a calculator, and it's updated every 4 minutes. Gives you constant updates on the value of precious metals, mainly gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. Now, right now, gold is at $1,245.55 per troy ounce, which is very cheap considering not too long ago it was about 1,800 bucks an ounce. And silver is $19.66. Again, if I didn't already mention it, today is July 1st, 2013. So it's right now its value is less than $20, just shy of 20 bucks. When you're investing in gold, silver, any kind of precious metals, what you want to do is you want to set a specific number that you're comfortable with for buying those particular metals. So for silver, I've set it at $20. I set this just when I got into the market and this whole hobby, in general. I saw the prices fluctuate. I saw it stay at about $18, $19 for months and months and months, and then eventually went up and hit 50 bucks, which of course was an all-time high for, like, I don't know, 50 years or something. So that's not a common thing, a common occurrence. But I happen to make out doing that. I happen to make money on my silver. But and also when I'm talking about investing and buying and selling, very small amounts. People who are really, really into this stuff, they're selling thousands of ounces at a time. I'm talking, I'm selling 10, 20 ounces at a time, if that. So my investments are always small. But I got so interested in this hobby in the beginning because I went in when it was cheaper, not knowing it was going to go up, just blindly liked the hobby, started investing in silver, and all of a sudden it went up and up and up. And I went, holy crap. And I sold it. And at the time, me being able to sell my precious metal collection, the little tiny bit of gold I had, and the silver that I had, gave me my 2 first months rent for my first home. So precious metals, actually allowed me to move out of my parents' house at the time and move out my own, start my life. So it was a huge novelty at the time. It was a great accomplishment personally for me to have taken a small investment and use that to start a new life. Literally start a new life with precious metals. So I'll always carry that with me for the rest of my life and always have an appreciation for it and enjoyment out of it. But for now, it's not something, you don't get into silver to make a quick buck. You don't just buy, I mean, if you have the money to do it, you certainly can, but do you have $10,000 to invest? Not everyone does. You need money to make money, and if you're investing small, you're going to make small. But then again, you're also going to lose small if you do lose. With precious metals, they will always have value. They will always hold their value. They will fluctuate. They'll go up and they'll go down. And if you buy right now at 20 bucks and it goes down to 15, you're going to go, oh my God, I lost all this money. Nope, you didn't lose the money. You just have to sit on it until it's worth more than you paid for it. So in its simplest terms, you buy when it's super, super cheap and you sell when it's really expensive, so you make the most profit out of it. But in the meantime, you enjoy it. It's fun to look at. It's fun to fondle. It's fun to know you have the security of, what, this is money. And it kind of, for me anyway, it helps having physical silver as opposed to fiat currency or paper money. We're all used to $20 bills in your wallet, because it's a lot easier to spend a $20 bill than to sell, a couple, troy ounces of silver, then to get your paper money, then to spend it. So for me, it's almost like forced savings. And I've talked to that before. I like the way I do it because sometimes I'm tempted to buy something, I'm tempted to do something, and I can't because it's not immediately available to me. So that's personally helping me to save money whenever I can, even though there's small bits here and there. So what you have to do is you have to find out exactly when you're comfortable to buy and sell. Everyone's number is different. Some people will buy every single time silver goes below, say, $25, they'll buy it. It could be $24.99 for a troy ounce, and they'll buy as much as they possibly can. And vice versa, when you pick a number that you're comfortable with paying for it, like in your mind, I would never pay more than, for me, $20 a troy ounce, only because I know that eventually it will go down to $20 a troy ounce or less. So that's just a personal goal. That's where I stand. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, you have to know exactly when to sell. When silver hit $50 a troy ounce, a lot of people sold silver and they made a lot of money. But some of those people got greedy and they didn't want to sell it. They're waiting for it to get to $75 an ounce. They're waiting for it to get to $100 an ounce. And guess what? They missed the boat because they were greedy, because they were waiting. It's like going to Vegas and guess what? You just doubled your money. So what do? You throw it all on black and you have that wheel spin. And what happens? It comes up red and you lose it all. You can't get greedy. It's a long-term investment, okay? You do have to follow the market a little bit to get an understanding where peaks are, when it goes up, when it goes down, how society fluctuates those numbers. When the value of the dollar, the US dollar, goes up, precious metals go down, and vice versa. So there is a little bit of knowledge that you have to acquire. If it's going to be a true investment for you, you want to kind of follow the market and figure out, when things happen and why they change the prices. Why is it worth more now and than before? There's global reasons. There's economical reasons. There's a lot of politics involved, but it's fun. It's a fun hobby because at the end of the day, it's your money, and you get to watch it grow into more money. But number one rule, long-term investment. Don't buy a bunch of silver and expect to make money on it right away. If you don't have extra money, which most people don't have extra money, but some people, they'll force to save. Some people, they get $5 taken out of their paycheck to go into some Christmas fund. So around Christmas time, they get that money back to buy presents for their kids. Other people choose to buy 1 troy ounce every single time they get a paycheck. You don't have to have a lot of money to invest in silver and gold. You just invest small. But, if you invest small, you win small or you lose small. So it's all depending on what you can do. But I would never, ever, ever recommend gambling with any money that you need for bills and for life. If you have a family, children particularly, do not play with your money. Obviously, I mean, it should go without saying, but it's a gamble. You're not going to lose it, but you might not have it available to you when you need it for emergencies. So any kind of precious metals investing is supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be when you have a couple extra bucks here and there. That's all it is. You don't want to take that gamble and invest money you need for very important bills, mortgage, car payment, electric, food. Don't play with that money. Be responsible. Be a responsible gambler. And yes, there is such a thing. If you only gamble with money that you're not going to miss, that's somewhat more responsible than gambling with that mortgage payment. And precious metals is no different than going down to Vegas and putting a quarter in a slot machine. You don't know what the outcome's going to be. You might better your chances by learning about it a little bit, but at the end of the day, you got to get lucky, and timing's everything. So for me, my personal numbers, if you're interested, $20 to buy. So if silver goes below $20 and I happen to have extra money to throw at silver, I will buy less than $20 an ounce, or for the most part, I'll trade. If I have a knife I like, I'll sacrifice that knife for some silver instead. And my selling price, it's really changing all the time, but right now my selling price would probably be $35 a troy ounce. So if silver hits $35 or more a troy ounce, I'll sell most of what I have. You always want to hold on to a little bit. You don't want to just sell everything because you want something to work with. But that's the other thing, is what percentage of your collection do you sell when you hit your selling points? That's something else you have to. It's all personal preference. That's all it is. But I would do about 75%. So let's say silver gets to $35, $36 and up. I'll sell about 3/4 of what I have, and then therefore make money on that, but I still physically own some silver to sit on and build upon again. You don't want to sell everything. You don't want to completely sell everything, because guess what? What if some fluke freak thing happened and all of a sudden it hit $75 a troy ounce or $100 a troy ounce? Well, if you sold everything, at 35, then you're kicking yourself in the butt because there's more money to be made. When it goes up, you don't know when it's going to stop. Same thing when it goes down. Right now, it's below $20 an ounce, and a lot of people are buying silver right now. Trust me, a lot of people are buying silver. But don't get frustrated if you buy it at 19 an ounce, and then like 2 weeks from now you see it at like 14 an ounce, and you're like, oh man, I'm so stupid, I couldn't. No, because you know what? It's going to go back up. It's just a matter of when. So at the end of the day, it is a gamble. Don't gamble with money that's important to you. Gamble with money that's extra that you won't miss. You'll be sad it's tied up in the meantime, and you see that cool gun or that cool knife you want. But be responsible as much as possible. Like I said, it's still gambling, but it's a sure thing. You're buying money with money. As far as any other investments I've ever seen, people buy, collector's cars, people buy art, even knives and guns. Knives and guns are great investments, and sometimes they'll hold their value. But it's rare for them to go up as much as gold and silver could go up. Take, for example, gold. It was only a couple years ago when gold was at $300 an ounce, and there was a few people out there who really, they put in a couple couple grand into gold, and all of a sudden, you know, it's 16, 17, $1,800 a troy ounce. Think about how much money they made. It's hard to have that much of an increase in your investment with guns or knives or many other forms of investing out there. But I love it. I love it as a hobby. And like I said, I shared that personal story with you. I've talked about it before. Investing in silver literally allowed me to start a new life. So I'll always have an attachment to it for that reason alone. So it's pretty cool. But a lot of you guys still think this is complete garbage and stupid, and the apocalyptical end is coming, and no one's going to want your stupid gold and silver because they're going to be hungry and you can't eat it. And what are they going to do? They're going to invest in brass and lead. Absolutely. You know what I think when I see this big old box of 9? I miss my Glock 17. That's when I got this box of 9mm when I had my Glock 17. And I had to sell that gun. But anyway, that's it. You have to figure out for yourself when you want to buy and sell. Set some numbers. You know, you can always change them. Nothing's set in stone. But get an idea for you personally and try to be patient. The biggest thing to any investment is patience. Don't sit, you know, and twiddle your thumbs and look at your app every 2 seconds to see what the metal prices are. You know, just every now and then give it a little glance, follow the market, learn. Education is everything. Educate yourself. Knowledge is power. The more things you know, the better life can be, because you'll know what mistakes not to make. You'll avoid certain mistakes in life by knowing more. So educate yourself. It's very good. And I don't care how smart you are out there. I know some of you guys watching this video, you're really, really smart. Much smarter than I am. And you know, some of you think you're smarter, but you're not. a lot of us think we're pretty darn smart, and we're not. But there's always room to learn about anything. You know, I have a lot of hobbies. A lot. That's like, if you have a lot of, that's way up here. Yeah, I have too many hobbies. Sometimes I forget what my hobbies are. That's how many I have. But I'm a master at none. Not even knives. As much as I know about knives, there's people out there who know more. There's always room to learn about everything in life, including yourself. So anyway, see my shirt. Smile, it's free. When I had my teeth pulled, they took 4 of my teeth, and all I got was a stupid t-shirt. And it's got an ad on the back anyway for their dental office, so it's not even like they just gave it to me for nothing. I'm a walking billboard for them now. But hey, free t-shirt, right? So that's it. Keep stacking, all you silver bugs out there, and anyone who does have the availability to invest in gold, go for that as well. I think for the most part, a lot of silver people, they do invest in gold, but it's a very small percentage in comparison. On average, I see about 10% gold, you know, to 90% silver as far as people's precious metals collections, simply because not a lot of people have extra money. And you know, what are you gonna? You want an ounce of precious metals? You can spend $1,300 on an ounce of gold, or you can spend $20 on an ounce of silver. So, seems like an easy choice, right? But anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this video wasn't confusing. Sometimes I do talk in circles. I'm guilty of that. But any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, and I will respond and answer your questions best I can. And I'm sure other people who know way more than this, or way more about this than I, will also respond to your questions. So remember, the only dumb question is the one not asked. So hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Take care.